Let's talk about Bill Burr.
Alrighty, so you guys know we've been covering Bill Burr's downfall. We actually covered his, I don't know, his late career bump, his renaissance, rejuvenation, whatever you would want to call it. He had a real moment, I would say, over the last 3 or 4 years. People were really starting to get down with Bill Burr, and the reason is that he seemed like one of the few middle-aged male comics who didn't go all anti-woke, Joe Rogan style, like I'm gonna become a right-wing boomer and I'm just going to complain about the world around me, and I'm going to talk about how the kids are too woke and how the world was better off when I was young and you guys are all crazy and yada yada yada, right? He didn't do that at all. In fact, he did the opposite. He started talking about how people were getting fucked by corporations. He started talking about how if you work a full-time job, it's insane that in this country you still can't afford a one-bedroom apartment on minimum wage. Anywhere in the country you can. He would talk about issues that were kind of kitchen table issues, that were kind of old school comedy issues, where it was like, oh man, you want to put your feet up at the end of the day and listen to this because here's a guy who's not so out of touch with what it's like to be a working person. He leaned into his Boston, roots, his little grunginess. He was relatable, or as relatable as a guy who can fly his own helicopter could be, right? Then he went to the Riyadh Comedy Festival and people are pissed. People are mad. He took more shit than I think just about any other comic that performed in Riyadh from his own audience, and he's paying for it with people just not tuning into his show. I was absolutely flabbergasted when I tuned in yesterday for the Monday morning podcast and I saw this number. 10,500 views for old Billy Boy in 24 hours for his weekly podcast. What's your reaction to that?
I mean, that's absolutely brutal. That's a lot less views than the Vanguard gets. I mean, I'm pretty sure Bill fucking Burr is a far more famous individual than either of us. You can combine us both times 1,000 and we're still not even nearly as popular or famous as Bill fucking Burr. So yeah, I mean, that is meaningful if he can only get 10,000 views on a feature-length podcast episode as someone with his level of popularity. I mean, again, that would be embarrassing for us. We would be like pissed off if we released a clip and it totally peaked at 10K views. I'm sorry to say, but we'd be like, what the fuck? This is crazy. Now it is, worth pointing out that obviously this is his podcast. I feel like, his podcast has never been as big as like, other comedians' podcasts, like for example, Tim Dillon or Joe Rogan or whatever. I think Bill Burr is known more for his actual IRL stand-up than his podcasting, but still, I imagine at least, Zach, if we clicked on his channel and went back a few months, I imagine that the videos and the podcast episodes would be getting a lot higher view counts than just 10K, which is, I mean, at that point, it's like, why do you even release it? That is barely worth releasing if you're this big of a figure.
Oh, 100%. And yeah, we can go back and take a look at that in 1 second. I would also like to point out I installed the add-on to look at how many downvotes this video has. We're looking at 1.3 thousand downvotes to 391 thumbs up upvotes, which again, at a time of turmoil, if you're a podcaster, if you're a YouTuber, if you're a well-known figure, you're going to have your simps coming out to defend you. You're going to have people who are like, hey, man, stop it, knock it off. If you don't like Bill Burr's comedy, leave. This is for people who want to talk about Bill Burr stuff. Stop talking about the drama. This isn't a political show. You'll have all those people coming out of the woodwork to defend you, and they'll be ratioing the fuck out of anybody who's criticizing you. This did not happen for Bill Burr. He has an absolutely insane downvote ratio, and all of the comments are critical. If we scroll down here, it says Bill Burr is upset. He walks in to do a show. I don't know what that's in reference to.
A private show for Ian Watt. Who's Ian Watt?
I don't know. When you're a comedian and people start laughing at you instead of because of you, you're in trouble. The good news is that you have all the wads of blood money, Billy. I propose we commemorate this occasion by adding Heroin Chic to Billy's growing list of nicknames. And that's actually really hilarious, Gavin. So you'll see here, it's a misspelled Heroin Chic. It's supposed to be heroin chic, like the drug heroin, and then chic for the like Vincent Gallo style, like brooding under your eyes thing. That's what he's making fun of in this segment. But according to the Reddit bot, he actually originally misspelled it and it was heroin chic. And people couldn't decide if it was a tongue-in-cheek reference to his own circumstance or if it was an accident and he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. But then he switched it back, so people were thinking that it wasn't actually a joke. It was just him being fucking stupid.
Also, I looked up Ian Watkins, and apparently he was a convicted child sex offender, and he was also a singer in a band.
Okay.
Lost Prophets.
I actually do know about this story because I had a weird moment where I actually know one of that guy's songs, because on Guitar Hero when we were kids, you could play one of the Lost Prophet songs, and it's like, dancing on the rooftops, everybody scream your heart out.
Apparently got killed too in jail.
He got killed in jail a few days ago. It was wild. He got stabbed to death in prison in the UK. And he was like a for real ass pedophile. So I guess that was like that was the joke. Okay, that he was willing to do stand-up comedy for that guy.
Yeah, can we take a look at those comments one more time? Because that is brutal. I mean, it's been like a month or so. I kind of figured that people would move on. I was even saying, like, Bill Burr is known for his like progressive politics and stuff. Can we zoom in maybe a tad?
Oh yeah.
Because some of these are just so funny. You're going to need a lot more than 1.5 million to afford a new pair of balls, Bill. So yeah, it does look like my prediction is coming true. Right. I'm always too eager to say that, oh, this guy's career is fucking over. Like, I'm always too eager to say that. And then people don't care as much as we do about stuff. But it actually does look like in this case, not that Bill Burr's career is over, but I do think he's probably at the point now where he's looking at what he did and he's probably regretting it and saying, you know what, actually, however much money I made off, however much blood money I got fucking paid is not going to make up for the amount of followers and the amount of views that I lose out on due to the backlash that seems to still be in, full force. It's not slowing down, guys. People are not forgetting this. They're not forgiving him for this, whatever you think about it. I saw someone in chat, I think it was Boxy Brown, being like, we just talked about purity tests, show Burr some grace. I would happily show Bill Burr some grace if he actually reckoned with the criticism, if he actually apologized, admitted that what he did was wrong, maybe donated some of that blood money to a charity that affects the sort of people that are oppressed by the Saudi Arabian regime, right? So, like, I'm all about, showing people grace, but they have to at least ask for it. They have to at least say they're sorry and admit that they did something wrong before. You can't just go off to some fucking fiefdom and haul off a fat bag of blood money and then expect to get away with it. I'm sorry, but especially not if you have courted a more progressive fan base. And it brings me no pleasure. I don't want to cancel Bill Burr. I've always loved Bill Burr. Even before I knew he was a progressive, I remember absolutely loving that show F is for Family.
Oh, nice.
On Netflix, which I always thought had a stupid name. It sounds like some kids show where you learn how to spell or something, but it's actually a genuinely funny, pretty interesting show set in the 1970s, animated show on Netflix. I highly recommend it. So, it's really unfortunate to see Bill Burr continuing to double down on this stuff, continuing to not actually answer for the, criticism that that so many people are upset about.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the one thing right here that really kind of says it better than anything is old Billy, everything I say falls flat now, Burr. And it just makes him come across as completely dishonest, right? One of the things that you have to have if you're a comedian is that people trust your insights. People trust your POV. People feel like you're shooting the shit, but you're being real with them, right? Like you're letting them in on something, and they don't like it when your entire act feels like a total work. People being like, was it worth it, Bill? And I actually did want to play this timestamp right here, because when I clicked on this, I was just like, this is why his act will never work anymore. This is why the show is completely over, because I would have been totally feeling what he was saying right here 6 months ago, Gavin. But when I play this for you, I'm interested to see how you react to it, because to me, it's completely flat now.
Yeah, interesting. I'm definitely excited to take a look at this. The last time we reacted to some Bill Burr podcast, it felt totally low energy, phoned in, like he knew he was dealing with this criticism, but didn't actually have the balls to address it. So he's just like pretending it wasn't happening. I'm interested to see what this is like.
Oh, let's see
here. Putting baking soda in it by then. Typical capitalism. You can't just be happy with your giant fucking mansion with your initials on the back of your chair and your two fucking elephant tucks, like framing it, on either side. You can't be happy with that. We need to turn more of a profit. More of a fucking profit. Anyway, let's plow ahead here.
That's just insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's literally describes you at this point. Oh, what, do you need another fucking elephant tusk in the background of your fucking throne room? Do you really need, like, what are you, is this a Jay Leno situation where Bill Burr is being chased by the mafia and he had to take the money? Oh, sorry. Once we find out, the reasons why, we'll all feel bad for making fun of Bill Burr, because it turns out he was being chased down by the fucking mob and he just needed that milli. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, no, it totally falls flat, 100%.
And I don't know how he recovers from this, right? And I know a lot of people in chat, they're like, okay, that's just his YouTube channel. It's just his YouTube channel, Gavin. These podcasts these days, the real money, it's on Spotify. How many downloads are you doing? I bet this guy's just doing millions of downloads on Spotify.
Even if he was, he'd probably get paid like 30 cents. Spotify totally fucks you.
True. Fair enough. It's not his buddy Rogan, but you got these numbers right here. And even his own Reddit, even the r/Bill Burr, which is heavily skewed towards your most diehard fans. This is your Reddit page, whoever you are, it is your most hardcore listeners, audience, people who are going to go see you every single time you're in their neighborhood. People are going to tune into every single thing you put out, right? These are your crew. These are your people. And he says, old Billy rating slump over here. So this is in August, right? And I'll point out to anybody, as a person who's followed the Bill Burr podcast for a while, this was already a slump for Bill Burr. Over the last year, he'd been touring more. He hadn't really been putting as much effort into his podcast. So this was like the down end of where it would normally be already. What this guy is circling 100,000 plays. You would want to be at least meaningfully better than that as a podcast if you're Bill Burr and a comedian of his level. But 100K, all right, it's niche. It's a podcast that's only for his hardcores. Fair enough. Recently, though, half the downloads on Spotify. We're seeing a third of his numbers on YouTube and half of his numbers on Spotify. So still doing at least a little bit better on Spotify, getting about 50,000 downloads, but not so great. And here it's showing about a couple months ago, he was getting around 55,000, 39,000, let's say 40,000 average views.
That's on YouTube again.
On
right?
YouTube again, yeah. Now, ever since then, we're looking at 16,000 views, 26,000 views. And then the most recent one we saw after this one, this was last week's that's highlighted at the top. He only did 10,000 views on the one after this. So it's a steady decline on YouTube. He is refusing to acknowledge that a large swath of his base is pissed off, that they want him to do something about this, and that they're not going to support him, and they're not going to consume or pay for any of his crap until he apologizes.
Yeah, that's super fucking rough. And if we take a look, just so you guys know, this isn't just the screenshots. I'm over here on Bill Burr's channel right now, which has over 1 million fucking subscribers. I mean, that's a lot of fucking subscribers. Yeah, 10K views, 18K views, 25K views. Again, you know, we're a channel with fucking 120,000 subscribers, and we would be low-key embarrassed if our videos were performing like this. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but again, we're a much smaller channel. We're literally like a tenth of the fucking size of Bill Burr's channel, and we get significantly more viewership. So I mean, that's fucking insane. Yeah, there's some of our recent videos. Either way, you know, this is genuinely pretty crazy. I guess if I'm Bill Burr, I'd be real tempted to put out a video, just like a video being like addressing the criticism, because you know that would rack up of the views. It would be easily the highest viewed piece of content on his YouTube channel in fucking months if he just dropped even like a 10-minute long video, no thumbnail, just him, you know, classic YouTuber apology style. I would be tempted to do that, but I'm also like, it might just make the situation worse. It really depends on how he was going to handle it, right? Because we've reviewed some different responses. We talked about Tim Dillon kind of taking the more self-deprecating route. We talked about that other podcaster who it was a lesbian who apologized and returned the money or donated it or something. You know, there's been a few different responses here. I genuinely think Bill Burr's has been the worst, which is just like try to ignore it, and then when you do talk about it, be super condescending and basically gaslight all your critics. I think it's the worst response possible. At this point, I do think he's at the point where he can't just survive this. He is going to have to actually address it if he wants to move on. Because you're right. It's just impossible to laugh or you know, find it relatable anymore when he makes a joke like the one we just fucking reacted to. It's impossible.
Yeah, I don't know what he'll do because part of my brain does feel like addressing it. Normally doing the I'm sorry YouTube video, it's not a recipe for success, right? I think we would both agree with that. Typically, you put out that video and you're inviting everybody to unload on you in the comment section. You're inviting everybody to dump all over you. You're inviting everybody. Even he knows he's wrong, you piece of shit. Fuck you. I fucking always hated you. I never trusted you. I never trusted him. That's what you're inviting people to do whenever you have like 1 ounce of accountability. That's why we have people like Donald fucking Trump in the presidency, because people get pissed off whenever you try and actually have humility. It's one of the most toxic, fucked up things in our society. It's why Gavin and I have been very clear. If he comes out and says he's sorry, we'll be like, thank you for apologizing. This is how we heal. This is how we move forward. Get rid of that fucking money that you got, because you don't get to profit off of this shit if you want to actually be sorry. But if you do want to be like, I understand this is why it flies in the face of here's what I was genuinely trying to do. And I would hear him out. If he genuinely thought, hey, I was trying to help bring comedy to this place. I was trying to, I had so much hysterical propaganda pumped into me about Saudi Arabia after 9/11. I really kind of believed some of it. So I was shocked when I went over there and I realized these are people just like me, and you'll be like, damn, Bill, that's crazy. You had to go all the way to there to realize those are people too. But we'll forgive you because you were honest, right? I want to say that that's what he should do, because I think that's the right thing to do, but I'm skeptical as to if he will, because if I'm his PR person or I'm his agent, I'm saying, Bill, keep your mouth fucking shut. I'm going to book you with 10 more fucking comedy gigs in Europe, and we're going to bring you back, and you're going to take a 6-month sabbatical, fly your helicopter.
Yeah, we'll see. Hero the God in chat saying this will blow over. I still think there's a chance it will, but the bleeding has continued for longer than I expected it to. I'll say that much. I was like, Bill Burr he's pretty mainstream. Most people aren't probably paying attention to this. The fact that he is still suffering as far as his like ratings go, and it seems like there's been a noticeable drop off. Like I said, it's been a while now, and the bleeding has not stopped. So if I were him, I would genuinely be shaken by this episode. I would genuinely be feeling a lot of regret if I was Bill Burr, because again, I don't know how much fucking money he made exactly, but there's no way he was down so bad that he needed that money so much so that it was worth all this backlash. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm sure the bag was nice. But there's no way that can be worth it to someone who's already as wealthy as Bill Burr. Again, it's not like he needed the money. I was joking about the Jay Leno situation. He's not trying to pay back the mafia. He was just being a greedy bastard. And again, there's no way that's worth it. Well, I mean, you can wipe your tears away with the money, sure. But at the end of the day, I'm sure Bill Burr does want to have an audience that fucks with him. I'm sure he does like having fans. And to see people turning on you, again, however much money it was, it can't have been worth it for him.
No, fuck no. I was actually trying to do a little bit of a thought experiment on that, and it's like, okay, what's the most money Bill Burr's ever made in a single year? Probably like couple million bucks, right? Like, just to be really conservative, who knows, right? Let's say, for a sake of argument, right? Because he's made fabulously more money than any of us. We can't relate to it, right? So let's say the most money he's ever made in his life in a year is like $2 million, right? And that's what they offer him, $2 million, okay? And then say the most money I've ever made in my life in a year is like 60 grand, right? So would I take 60 grand to go and fucking nuke the Vanguard? Would I take 60 grand to go shake hands with Donald Trump and do a bunch of ad reads and do shit that would just make people never trust me again? Absolutely not. It wouldn't even be fucking close. I've never in my life seen $60,000, and I probably never fucking will. Like, all laid out at once, like, here's a payment of $60,000. Probably never gonna fucking happen for me, right? Maybe if I sell a house one day, something like that, I find out that there's gold buried in my backyard after I don't fucking know. Maybe it could happen, but almost never gonna happen. And it wouldn't even cross my mind for 1 second to do something like that. It wouldn't cross my mind for 1 second.
The only difference, though, is I don't think Bill Burr realized how much backlash there would be. Yeah. Obviously, if we agreed to go, take a photo with Donald Trump, we would know that would be like career suicide for us as like progressive podcasters. I genuinely think that Bill Burr thought he could get away with this. Because for a month or so, no one was really talking about it. It wasn't right until it went down that people started like hyper focusing on it and the backlash got real. But I feel like he was just like, you know what, I'll do this fucking thing. People in America, they don't even know what the fuck Riyadh is. Like, wow, it'll blow over. No one will care. And then I just think the backlash was way bigger than he expected. So at this point, he's probably like, fuck, this was not worth it. But yeah, I mean, obviously me neither. I wouldn't take that money either for basically anything, even if it wasn't Trump, even if it was just like I don't really want to be paid by any government. Like, even if it was a government that I theoretically was not as opposed to as the Saudi Arabian government, I just find it weird to be like participating in like state propaganda and getting like paid by the fucking like emperor or whatever. I'm just like, all right.
Well, if she gives us a call and we connect with the right people, I'm kidding. I do really want to go to China and make content about it. So We don't have anything negative to say, people who stamp your visa.
That is one thing we have to consider too as YouTubers. Like, they will grill you in the fucking, you know, when you're like in immigrations, customs and immigrations. Like, I was watching a travel YouTuber who was vlogging around Nicaragua, and he said they kept him in customs and immigration for 4 hours, interrogating him on what he was planning on documenting and showing to his YouTube channel from within Nicaragua.
You know about getting fucked with the customs.
I do. 'Cause I bit of a passport mishap. But either way, I was like, fuck, that is something to consider. Like, you know, if you have any following whatsoever, these countries, specifically the more authoritarian ones, they're going to be like, what the fuck are you here to show up? Like, what are you here to do?
Yeah, it is weird because we always think about ourselves as just like being like nobodies. Like, I don't ever think about anybody clocking me as a YouTuber ever.
No.
Would it be wild if we like show up at like, you know, the New Delhi airport and they're like, sorry, dude, we don't know what you're going to say about Narendra Modi while you're here. You're going to fucking have to, you're going to have to give us your cell phone before you can get in the country.
So I'm going to have a Bhagavad Gita in my bag.
You know, just a big picture of Tulsi Gabbard in my wallet. This lady loves you. Here's a picture of her with Modi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't think India is as intense as fucking China.
No, I was
You know,
kidding.
'cause- I mean, I know it's intense. I know it's authoritarian as far as like Modi's, you know, control over the people and stuff, but not as much. I don't want to speak.
It's not
on
like
it.
Russia.
Yeah, it's not like Russia.
We can't go to Russia. Gavin and I kind of wanted to take the longest train ride in the world, which is the Siberian Rail all the way across Russia. But I looked into it and like even before the war, I mean, obviously now after the war you can't go, but you fucking don't want to be riding that train across Russia.
Yeah, and 100%, Nicaragua is a dictatorship. That's why they were asking this guy, because Daniel Ortega and his wife have literally just completely locked down the country. They've imprisoned all their political opponents. There's no democracy whatsoever.
Heartbreaking turn of events for Ortega because he really was considered based back in the 80s.
Oh yeah, and heartbreaking for Nicaragua after, like, you know, the Sandinistas triumph over the Contras and all that stuff, to just find themselves back in this straight up dictatorship. It's genuinely really sad, and I really want to visit Nicaragua, but it's hard to justify, you know, supporting the economy of a country that is that brutal and dictatorial. So either way,
my homie Mariah went to Nicaragua and she said it was fucking beautiful.
dude, that's what I've heard. I've heard it's the most beautiful country, that it's cheap, that the food is delicious, the people are incredibly friendly. So yeah, it's a bummer, but we're definitely gonna have to get down to Central America at some point. Obviously, Costa Rica is right there too, and people say
Duolingo.
Oh, nice.
I'm kidding.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there. Be there. The Vanguard will be there.